what about the 49ers injuries? They came out bruised and battered from the loss to the Browns. They got a Monday night game. Obviously, this is of fantasy importance for a bunch of people as well. But, the NFC is up in the air with the Lions playing as well as they're playing. And you got the Eagles coming off their first loss with the Dolphins coming in on Sunday night. And now the 49ers going on the road, licking their wounds. They got Brock Purdy in hour 3. So I throw that all to you about their health going into this.
Yeah, I mean, week. Well, first of all, you're right. I think you're right to put the Lions in that group because I don't know. Like I think people have a tendency to still talk about them like they're a Cinderella story when they actually they look like a legitimate powerhouse now. You know what I mean?
They're Cinderella with a samurai sword, man.
That's
what they are. You know.
Yeah. So so I would I'd say with the Niners, and I hate to sound like a coach here, but I do like. My feeling on it is like the Debo and Christian McCaffrey injuries are week to week.
Okay.
I think this week brings up an interesting situation. There is now the Niners play on natural grass. No team has players that have been more militant about the surfaces they play on than the Niners, led by Nick Bosa, who, if you remember, was hurt on the MetLife turf a few years ago.
That's right.
And there was that afternoon was a massacre with injuries. And so there is that type of turf, slip film, which the league and the Players Association have both agreed this is a less safe surface. They agreed that last year. There were 6 stadiums that had it last year. 3 of those stadiums switched out the turf. New Orleans, Detroit, and MetLife all switched out the turf. That means there are 3 left that have that surface. Minnesota is one of those 3. So I just wonder if a team that's got the capability to take a long-term view here, right? Because we know they're going to be in the playoffs, that, they're worried about seeding, but the health of the players is a little bit more important. That has a locker room full of guys that are militant about these sorts of things. Do they tap the brakes on some of their guys who are hurt here, knowing what that surface is? And so, again, it's one of 3 surfaces left in the NFL. It's Indianapolis, Minneapolis, and Cincinnati that still have what's called the slip film turf. And I'll be really interested to see how the Niners handle that going into Minnesota on Monday night, especially when on the other end of it too, you got a short week.
And again, I guess then let's finish up with this. Why won't the league? Again, it's not my money, but it's probably a few tens of millions league wide to do what they and plus this is an international sport now, as we know.
Yep. Traveling,
everybody sees the Premier League, what they do with natural grass and in a way tiering it underground, and you could remove it and put the artificial turf out for Taylor Swift or for whatever else that these multi-purpose stadiums. I mean, you can do it. You see what the technology. Why won't the league do it? Why won't the NFL just go ahead and do it?
Same reason
I know
for
it's
everything
money,
else. Money.
I know it, but I mean,
Yeah. It does feel like to me like that would be the right investment. And look, like Lambeau is the perfect example because Lambeau, they spend so much. I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody complain about like the surface at Green Bay? It's been a while, right? And that's in northern Wisconsin. Like that's arguably the worst climate in the league. Buffalo, they're building their stadium. They're putting grass down, for these reasons. And so, I think it's a matter of the price of the teams going up. It's a matter of the price of the stadiums going up, that the owners feel like they've got to put every event under the sun in stadiums, and the only way to do it without spending tens of millions of dollars to maintain the grass is to lay down artificial turf. And I like the smoking guns to me are Tennessee and Carolina. And I know Tennessee's grass surface wasn't great the last couple of years, which is why they do this. Well, why ain't you just try to get a better grass surface? Why don't you try to solve that a different way? Because it's easier, because it's cheaper to lay down the turf. And Nashville's obviously a city that has a lot of concerts, that is attractive for a lot of events. And so, I just think it's a conversation that the players have to keep pushing on, and it's going to be expensive if they want to make a commitment to putting grass in as many places as they possibly can. You got to ask yourself the question: if you're an owner, if you're the league, is the health of our players paramount? Because if it is, you'll do that. And maybe even this part of it is an interesting way to look at it. Maybe you go to the union and say, will you give us like a kickback, like an exemption, like from, what goes into the salary cap if we do this? right? Like say $5 million a team into a surfaces fund, right? Like, so $5 million comes off the cap every year, which is whatever, like, divide that by 53, however many per player. Like, we will, if we create a fund for surfaces, will you contribute to that fund? It would be an interesting way to look at it if you were the league and you wanted the players to chip into it too, because it would be an investment for the players into themselves. So I think there are ways to solve this. I just, and like, again, it's not just the injuries either, Rich. It's how players feel when they come off of that.
No,
like,
I know that's a fact, Albert. And it's also, again, just to, be fair, injuries happen on natural grass too. I mean, Elijah Vera Tucker of the Jets hurt his triceps, and I know that's not normally associated with artificial turf, but bodies move in certain ways, and then blew out his Achilles on the same natural grass surface in Denver.
Well, here's the smoking gun. Here's the real smoking gun. How many teams voluntarily practice outside on artificial turf, even ones that have it in their stadium?
Zero.
Right. Why do they all practice on grass?
I got it. I hear you. And again, that's why I bring it all up, and it's a fascinating point about Monday Night Football, and what the Niners might do with their injured stars on a surface that they're not psyched about playing on. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.